Okay, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Christy Sonkrant, and I am the administrator at the Division of Engineering and Construction. And I would like to welcome all of you to our Schneider Road traffic calming meeting. We're here to discuss with you our plans for the new traffic calming on Schneider. And with me, I have Sean Burnett, who is the commissioner at the Department of Traffic Management. I have Tim Grosjean, who is our senior engineer at the Division of Engineering and Construction. I have Doug Stevens, who is our director of the Department of Transportation. And I have Gary Stuckey, who is a senior engineer over at the Department of Traffic Management. And then Joel McGordy, who is the design engineer for this project. And happy to also have Councilman Cherry with us also. And I'll go ahead and turn it over to you to add a few comments.
Thank you very much, Christy. And I want to thank you and the team for being here tonight and helping us with this project and to discuss this project with the neighbors of South Toledo. I can say that, as Doug will tell you, I'm sure, I have been harping about Schneider Road ever since day one I came on the council. I actually lived just off of Schneider Road on Carmel Court for, I believe it was 13 years. Young children, and that neighborhood has only brought more young families over the years, even after I left, that there's a lot of children in the neighborhood. And the one concern that I've heard from Schneider residents, people that lived on Schneider or just off of Schneider, is the speeds and the traffic that comes down Schneider Road from Heatherdowns mainly. And everyone knows that lives in South Toledo that the light at Heatherdowns and Byrne can be a real pain in the butt at rush hour times in our city. So a lot of people will use Schneider Road to cut through to go to Byrne. The problem is when people use Schneider Road to cut through, they don't do the posted, I believe the posted speed limit is 30 miles an hour, and they do 50 or 60. I know the average speed when we did the traffic study was almost 40. Luckily, we've recently put in sidewalks, I know, on Schneider Road, and that has definitely helped the foot traffic, because not only do we have a lot of families and young people, but we have a lot of seniors that live off of Schneider Road. So there have been many plans for Schneider Road, even before I became the councilman, from the neighbors that live on or just off of Schneider Road. And one being shutting Schneider Road down at Heatherdowns and just creating a dead end street. And that didn't go anywhere because of traffic concerns, obviously. There was one time during when I was, or early on in my council career, I should say, that we wanted to make Schneider one way from Byrne to Heatherdowns. And that was about 50-50 support from people that lived on or around Schneider Road. So we didn't get anywhere with that. After, I'm sure, of harping on Doug and his team more and more, they came up with the traffic circles, very small traffic circles at that. And although I know a lot of people have issues with roundabouts, maybe even traffic circles, I don't know, but this isn't about, this is definitely about the safety of the neighborhood. We've had fatalities at Byrne and Schneider, I think multiples. We've had fatalities at Heatherdowns and Schneiders. So these traffic circles, I think, definitely are the answer, and will definitely help that neighborhood, and people either deter from going down Schneider, or at least when they do, they will calmly go down Schneider, as this meeting is called traffic calming. So I I hope everybody is respectful tonight and gets their questions asked, and we'll get them answered, that's for sure. But I've asked Doug and his team to do this meeting so that everybody has a chance to see what this project actually is. So thank you, everyone, and I will sit tight.
Thank you, Councilman. Thank you, Councilman Jerry. Okay, so as he said, what we would like you to please do is anytime throughout the presentation, feel free to put your questions in the chat. Also, if you could add your address, that would be helpful for us too. At the end of the presentation, we will go ahead and address all those questions that you have. So right now, we're going to go ahead and get started, and I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Sean.
Thank you, Christy. I think we can go to the next slide. So Councilman Cherry did a great job kind of explaining some of the concerns that were brought to Division of Transportation about Schneider Road. Obviously, it's a major cut through. You know, we had some complaints about property damage, you know, roads, road departures leading to some damage to the nearby yards, some of the concerns about safety due to speeding. I think we can go to the next slide. So the Division of Transportation performed a number of traffic studies looking specifically at the speeds of vehicles moving down Schneider Road. And what we have here is a graph demonstrating that the 85th percentile speeds were around 38 miles per hour. Schneider Road, the posted speed limit is 30 miles per hour. And so obviously this represents a significant overage when we talk about safe speeds. One of the things in traffic engineering that's really important to consider when you're looking at things or corrective actions is that speed limits alone are not enough to change speeds of travel for vehicles. Roads that are like Schneider, you know, designed to be straight, open. In the example of Schneider currently, you know, there aren't curbs and things of that nature, and there isn't street parking, all which typically help to lower average speeds on a roadway. So, you know, we have these obvious concerns with the speed. Citizens have reached out. Councilman Cherry was very involved in talking with the city and bringing these concerns to our attention. And one of the things that we came up with as a potential solution, which we've now designed, are traffic calming circles. Traffic calming circles are used to great effect in residential areas where speed is the primary concern. Typically, we look at traffic calming circles like these at T intersections and some four-way intersections that have a slightly lower throughput. Throughput is the number of vehicles that travel through this network. Slightly lower throughput than a main artery, but represent higher speeds. As you travel through Schneider with these improvements, the idea is that when you approach these intersections, vehicles will be naturally slowed by the requirement to now adjust their driving pattern. They cannot go straight through. Generally, statistically, in intersections where these traffic calming circles have been installed, injurious accidents, serious accidents have fallen precipitously. This is, again, one of the reasons why we gravitated towards these designs as a solution. And so I think with that, we can start talking about what these will actually look like.
All right. Thank you, Sean. My name's Sean McGordy. I was the design engineer on this. So we're just going to take it step by step, kind of go each intersection, that way we can take a look at it. First here, we'll take a look at Brierheath and Schneider. We were able to put a map view underneath here so you can kind of see what the existing road is currently and then what it's going to look like. The existing road right now is about 22 feet wide. We'll be making it a travel width of 15.5 feet going around the circle. The inside diameter, which will be all concrete, will be 12 feet, and the outside diameter will be 16 feet. The little gray area here in between will be curb to help keep cars following the correct path they need to. We'll also be adding curb around the outside. It'll be a 6-inch reveal curb to help keep cars on the straight, or kind of on the roadway where they need to follow around the path. As you can see here, we'll be putting in a new drive apron for the assisted living home at Brierheath and Schneider. Take a peek here at Schneider and Birchwood. As you can see, we're not taking much property at all. We're just using the tree lawn that was already existing between the walk and the roadway. This walk will have to bounce out just a smidge, but we're talking less than a foot. So we're just showing here again that the existing road is about 22 feet wide. Here's your 15.5 feet that you'll be able to travel around the circle. All these circles are the same size. I'll go ahead and say that, even though it points out here just for reference. 12-foot diameter on the inside, 16-foot diameter on the outside with the 2-foot curb around the radius. Also 6-inch curb around these areas. We'll also be installing catch basins and some storm sewers around here now that there's curb, to make sure that we take care of any drainage. That way there's no ponding on the roads. And then down to Schneider and Royal Haven. Again, got the map on the bottom. We'll be replacing this drive apron here, extending the road out into the grass and gravel area, replacing walks that we went and installed these back in 2020. But with this project, since we're adjusting the radiuses, we'll go ahead and replace all these walks to make sure that they're still ADA compliant. Showing the 22-foot width road, 15.5 foot to get around the circle. 12 feet on the inside, 16 on the outside. And then 6-inch curb going around the edges. As you can see here, that we're not really taking any of the radiuses on the southern side of these projects. They're pretty much staying right in the roadway where they're existing already. Here at Royal Haven, this will also be continued. Royal Haven's being reconstructed all the way down to Craigmore this year. So some implementation here. When we redo these, we'll be digging the road out completely all the way down to the dirt, and we'll actually kind of take out the subgrade underneath it and build it back up with a sturdy pavement that'll last a pretty long time as long as we take proper care of it. As I had mentioned before, the center concrete circle will be 16 feet in diameter, including the curb. It'll be 12 feet of solid concrete on the inside. Catch basins will be installed to allow for drainage, with new curbs being installed around the outside. I think we're putting in around 9 to 10 catch basins to allow for maximum drainage. And then all the pedestrian ramps that we have to remove due to the new radiuses will also be replaced. That way we continue with the ADA appropriate walks. We just kind of wanted to find an example. This isn't exactly how ours is going to look. It was something kind of similar, a little close to what we will have. The center circle here on the inside, solid concrete. We'll have 6-inch curb reveal at the top, and then we'll have 4-inch reveal down by the roadway. That way it helps cars are going to have to follow. It's not going to be something easy that they can just ramp and jump over. It's going to be pretty solid if they were to hit that at any speed. During construction, each intersection would be reconstructed one by one. And they would do that just to eliminate any major impacts to traffic flow. While they're being reconstructed though, there'll be a posted detour. That way you can still access around on Schneider. All properties, you'll still be able to get into all driveways. We make sure that our contractors keep everything buttoned up nice and tight. That way our residents can still get to their drives and access anything they need to. Tim, if you want to go ahead and talk about the funding.
Yeah, so the funding for this project, we are going to be using the 1/4% tax money, since this is a residential road, to fund this. And we had a package go out that was council districts 1 and 2 and all of the roads that were going to be reconstructed between those 2 districts. One of them was Royal Haven. So it made sense for us to just add it into the construction for that project, because the contractor's already out there, and because of economy of scale, with such a large program, the cost came in a lot less than they typically would for something like this. So we are able to use those lower costs to be able to put in the traffic circles. So just to give you an idea, I think each traffic circle will be roughly $60,000 to $65,000. So it's actually relatively cheap compared to the cost of a road, because we're just simply doing the intersection and nothing else. So I think there was something else. Oh, okay. I guess, do we hand this over to Christy now, I believe?
Yes. Okay, so once again, we wanted to do an overview for all of you so you could actually see what our thoughts are and get it straight from the mouth of the people that are designing it and trying to make it better for the public. I'm going to go ahead and go through these, try to get them pretty much in order. I have 2 different places I have to look. So if you don't hear yours right away, I will get to it. I have to go through both the chat and the Q&As. So I'll kind of be going back and forth. Okay, first off, had a question about if the project will take any portion of the property on the corner of Schneider and Brierheath. That was one of the first examples that was shown by Joel. And as you can see, there's nothing that's being taken. It's all staying within the right of way. So the properties that are surrounding this will not be impacted by it. Next question. Why so many circles in a short area? I don't know if Gary or Sean, you want to answer that one?
Sure, Christy, I'm happy to answer it. I think that largely, the impact that these traffic calming circles have are best done or best seen when you locate them at some of the notable intersections. I think one of the things I didn't mention when I was explaining why we chose these earlier was also the fact that congestion on Schneider Road was one of the citizen concerns, and that these traffic calming circles will generally make it easier to make a left out of the residential neighborhoods. So we looked at the primary intersections or the primary points of conflict along Schneider Road, and we chose these as the locations for them. Gary, did you want to add anything?
No, I mean, that's it. I mean, it's just, if you just put one, it's only going to control speed to a very limited amount. With the 3 cars, will never really be able to get up to a speed that, is even close to what it was before. They'll have to slow down, as they're coming up to each of these. And like I said, one isn't enough for this long of section.
Okay. Then the next question, is this a done deal or does our input matter? This is part of it. We wanted to get this out to you and informing you of what we're doing. We will listen to input and see what you guys have to say. That's what we want to do, is we want to hear your thoughts on it and take those into consideration also. Next one. Let's see. What about police ticketing or speed bumps? There are other ways to address cut through. So I know that they had looked at the speed bumps also, and Gary, I know you guys had looked at these.
Yeah. I mean, basically, speed bumps are made for a road that is 25 mile an hour or less. Schneider Road is a 30-mile-an-hour road. At one time, it was 35 miles an hour. It was dropped down to 30. But that didn't help slow the vehicles down. So, and this also carries a little bit heavier traffic than what we would want for speed bumps. Because we don't want to divert and have people actually diverting and going into the neighborhoods and utilizing the other residential streets along there rather than using Schneider. This, will still allow the majority of these vehicles to transverse down Schneider, but at a slower speed.
Christy, I can speak to the ticketing and the police.
Okay,
So we've used the the traffic division of the police department many times on Schneider. Excuse me. And it works for a day or two, and it's just back to where it always is. When I lived off of Schneider, I witnessed when we did have the motorcycle police at the time too. They did a lot of ticketing on Schneider. But again, there's only so many people in the police department and so many people in the actual traffic division. So they have many other places in the city that we need them, and they're not just going to hang out every day on Schneider. So like I said, it works, the ticketing works, but it works for not very long. Thank you.
thank you. So then there's another question in regards to if anyone has consulted the fire department, since it is a main route for them to travel.
We have taken a look at the design vehicles that can transverse these circles, and a fire truck will make it through without any problems. And fire trucks, and typically they still go close to the speed limit, so they're not speeding down here. But they will be able to transverse around these circles without any problems.
And one of the things, you had kind of mentioned it, but also it was another question kind of worded a different way, but they're talking about these traffic circles are going to be far enough apart that they can't speed, but not too close. What their question was, aren't people going to speed back up between the roundabouts?
Generally, yes. I mean, most people will. I mean, unfortunately, they will speed up, but it's going to be very difficult for them to get up very high, because as soon as they get up to, start getting up to speed, they got to start slowing down as they come upon the next circle. So this should control speed overall. I mean, I'm not going to lie, people will, are going to increase speed in between a little bit, but it's not going to be close to what it was before, or shouldn't be.
And I want to add to what Gary's saying too, that I think we've also seen some questions about why not four-way stops or three-way stops. Both of those, both speed bumps and three-way and four-way stops, what we see in terms of, actual speeds and driver behaviors is their peak speed in between stops and in between speed bumps is higher on average than those we would see between, say, traffic calming circles or other kind of, I would call them more efficient traffic calming measures.
Okay, and this one, I know we've discussed this in-house. If a person wants to turn left, will you need to turn left before the circle or go around the traffic circle to go left?
Okay, we have designed, and what they are meant to be is for a vehicle, they will go around the circles, what we want. Understanding that, for a bus or a garbage truck, a small box truck, that type thing, they will actually turn in front of it. They are designed for this, and it is an allowable movement. But for the most part, we want people to go around them. It just keeps everything safer and slower.
We're getting quite a few questions. We must have quite a few people here that live on Muirfield. And they're talking about that there's cars that also speed on that road. And so this might just force people to use Muirfield instead to avoid the circles. And then, yes, there's someone that's talked about, the road is not in very good shape and it's narrow also, Muirfield is. So, but we had somebody else who was also talking about Muirfield and can signage be adjusted and yields be changed to stops at Birchwood.
Okay, yeah, we will monitor the whole neighborhood. Once these get put in, we will, keep our eye out. We'll go out there and visit it. And if we need to, we can put some traffic counting data out there that'll check speeds and that type stuff in those locations. We look at accidents at the different intersections if needed to see if signage needs to be changed. So we will monitor all those streets back in there after the circles are in place.
No, and as we stated in this presentation, someone had asked about the right of way. If it was going to be changed, it is not. The right of way is not being moved at all. It's staying in the same location. Everything is being done within the city of Toledo right of way, so you're not losing any of your yards. Okay, we got one. The concern was raised about cars leaving the road at Royal Haven. If a car begins the radius heading west and misses the radius, the vehicle may hit the cars in my driveway or the structure itself.
Yeah, they should never, that's one of the reasons why we put curbs on these streets, is to keep cars within it. Without the curbing, you're more likely to get cars running over and onto the bermed area or the grass area. That's why the curbs are added on these on all four corners. And that is basically to try to contain them and let them know they need to come back on. These aren't huge deflections in the road. And, they should be going at a slower speed now. So that should not be happening.
And also this isn't as big as, a lot of people have not seen this kind of traffic calming. And I think when they hear traffic circles, they think of the ones that have already put in place in Toledo or in Lucas County, the bigger ones, South Detroit, especially not being far from this road, South Detroit and Bern. And this is nothing like it. And that's what we want to make sure everyone understands, that this is just kind of forcing you to go around this little curb, a circle curb again. That's what it is. It's not a roundabout. So that's really what we want you guys to also see here. Okay, let's see. Aw, we got a nice one. I don't know, maybe I should save that for the end. I might save that one for the end. Okay, so does Ohio code allow for traffic controls? I've been told in the past that since it is a feeder street, that controls are not allowed.
No, you can do any kind of different, you can try different traffic controls on a street. ODOT, or I guess the Ohio Revised Code, or even the Toledo Municipal Code, does not dictate exactly what you need to utilize on a road. We have a repertoire of different things that we can try to control traffic in different ways that we need to. So it is allowed.
Okay, and then we've gotten some more. I know a lot of you guys have been asking about the emergency vehicles, and I can see that being a concern, but as we've stated, they will be able to get around them. Let's see, next. Put the funds into, okay, we've talked about this in-house too, Gary. Why not put the funds into the turnarounds where it's needed at Heather Downs and Schneider?
All
Put
right.
speed bumps spread out the length of the rest. He's lived in the area for 62 years. Wow.
Yeah, no, that one is on our radar. It is a very much more complicated intersection with what is it, Meadowlark, I believe, or Meadowlark that comes into there at kind of a funny angle. It just makes trying to put a traffic circle or some other kind of traffic control at that intersection a lot more complex, and it is a lot more expensive. I mean, with something at that intersection, we will end up having to take property to get anything in there to kind of straighten that out. But it is on our radar, and we have tried to apply for funds for that one.
Yeah, I can speak to that, Gary.
Okay.
We have tried numerous times to get funding because honestly, just doing that intersection, one of the things we were looking at is a potential sort of mini roundabout. We're actually doing one next year up in Point Place, and the intersection is almost exactly like this one. One road goes straight and it curves around. We did get funds for that one, but just to do a single intersection like that is going to be over $500,000. We're looking at somewhere probably around $550,000-$600,000 just to do one intersection. So we have been trying to get funding for it, and we will keep trying to. The only reason why the other one got funded and this one didn't was because it was a lot harder to get off of the side street than it is on this one to get onto the main drag. So that was the only difference between them, but we are going to continue to try.
So, but yeah, just to let everybody, yeah, that one is still on our radar, and we're going to continue trying to get funding so that we can do something there to at least help that intersection.
Okay. Councilman Cherry has reiterated that if anyone wants to contact him regarding the project, please do so at matt.cherry@toledo.oh.gov. And I'll repeat that one more time towards the end. So if anyone wants to get something to write that down, it's matt.cherry@toledo.oh.gov. Oh, we got another. There's quite a few people here about Muirfield. Sounds like they've also had issues. Let's see. We will look at, there's a question here about an ineffective catch basin in our yard at 33. Oh, that's right at the corner. Actually, I know that Joel was looking at some catch basins at one of these. This is a question about the corner of Brierfield, corner of Brierheath, sorry.
This is.
And I think you're going to reroute some, you're going to do some storm
Yep.
work
So
with this.
we're going to end up tying into this basin, and that's one of our issues that we'll go out and we'll take a look at it, make sure that it's flowing correctly. Now that I know it has issues, we can actually go out and get a video of it, make sure that everything's clear down the pipe. If not, we can get it jetted through our sewers division before we go ahead and tie the new pipe into it. So it'll definitely be looked at before we tie all the new pipe in there.
Okay. One of them also, they're asking about shifting the circles, Joel, to shift them more to the south and keep them out of the north side yards. Looks like there's plenty of room. I don't know if that's, I mean, you try to keep it, I'm assuming, in the middle of the road.
Correct. So that's the main reason. It is where it is. We're trying to center the circle in the middle of the center of the road. That way we can do half on each side of the road, force the cars, to slow down and have to go around. If we shift it too far to the south there, the cars heading westbound aren't really going to have that much of a jog in the road. They're going to be able to shoot straight through and keep that speed up instead of having to slow down and go around.
Yeah.
And did we already, Gary, also talk, we've gotten some more about the four-way stops. You kind of went through that for everybody, haven't you?
Well, actually Sean mentioned it. But yeah, unfortunately, four-way stops are not a speed control. Basically, I mean, in an intersection like this, especially the T's, what happens is the one thing is people don't slow down for them. They will, roll right through them. And people on the side street now think they're going to stop, and these people don't, because there's not a lot of side street traffic out here. So, people every day see nobody there. Pretty soon they're not even stopping at these stops. And that's one of the complaints that we do get. Stop signs are utilized to give right of way. And that's what, they along Schneider, these side streets are the smaller, lower volume streets. Basically, you want to stop them and make them look for, traffic coming out, along Schneider. So a stop isn't a speed control item. It is actually used to give right of way to people, telling some people they need to stop before they move on.
I'd like to add to that just a little bit too, because one of our most common crash types is rear ends. And this traffic calming circle has a much, much lower percentage of rear end crashes than a four-way stop sign or something like that, just because of how it's designed. So, we really do believe, and the studies have shown this, proven this in other locations, that these are safer, they're more effective at controlling speeds, they're more effective at lowering the rates and percentages of injurious crashes, of high-speed crashes. So we really do think that this is the most effective solution to the challenges that have been presented to us by the community.
Okay. Gary, just stay on here with me. So I can answer the next ones. There's answers about snowplows. Yes, we've already worked with our other division, our sister division, and they'll have no issues getting through here with the snowplows. It will all be snowed. It will all be snowed. It'll all be plowed during the snow. There is something I want to make sure I get through. There's a question here. I want to make sure everyone's aware. Someone has asked a question in regards to during construction actually now. So during construction and people having access to their streets, or of course, we have Michaelmas Manor, which is right off of one of these. And yes, there will always be access maintained to your street to get back there. There'll not be a time when you guys, can't get through there some way. So access will be maintained throughout the project. So,
and I don't want to lie to these people. Basically, the access may be coming from the different direction. So basically, the intersection will be closed down as they tear it out and put all this in. But you may have to enter off of, you'll enter off of Heather Downs side to get into one side. Then maybe come in off of Burn to get to the other. And then, the side streets will just come in off of the next street that is down. The intersection itself will be closed, but you'll be able to get right up to it, just not go through it.
right. We don't want any people worried though that they won't, if they need
Right.
help, that they can't.
No, there will always be access, and we do inform fire and police so they know where they need to, to get to for, a certain area. They know that they got to come in from a different direction or something to access it. And we're not going to do two of these at the same time. So that way, there's not somebody caught in between.
So then what she's saying then is that they only have one entrance going into it. So into the manor.
Right. And they will maintain traffic one way or another. They will get you access. They'll do half the drive at a time, that type stuff.
Yeah, I was gonna say they'll work on, half the drive, and we have fast setting concrete. So when they do the drives, they can do it. It can be open back up, within 6 to 8 hours. They could, easily do a half, come back. You still have access over on this side. They'll flip traffic over to the other way. You can come in this way. They would pour this side over. So that there'll always be access. We've worked with it quite often on many of projects where, you still have companies who have semi trucks and different things that they still need to get their shipments in and out. And our contractors are really good with contacting the owner, making sure that they keep it open so that they have access at all times.
And there's at this, what would be placed in the center of the circle, it's going to be concrete, and then there are going to be some kind of
Yeah.
signage.
Basically, it'll be a concrete center. And then what we will do is we're going to put a delineator in each direction with a strip down the middle of the pole, so it's very visible to let people know that there is a, something there that they do not want to run into. So.
And then I have to say this, we have someone who is thanking Councilman Cherry for your leadership and delivering for District 2, and that they are all for traffic calming that allows for flow to continue. This makes sense and will increase neighborhood safety. So thank you, everyone that's on this panel here too. Let's see. Oh, and we had kind of said in here before that this will be the first place that we have put these type of traffic circles, traffic calming. This will be the first place, correct?
Yes.
Yep. Okay.
Now they've been used all over, the world actually, in these residential areas with very, high success rate.
Let's see. Some of these have been the same because people have been typing them in. No, this does not have anything to do with, someone asked about Schneider Park being improved later this year. This doesn't have anything to do with that, further down that, but no, it doesn't. It's because of the speed in this section, and we're trying to slow the traffic down and make it safer for pedestrians and residents there. Oh, somebody loves the roundabout on Detroit. And we did, someone asked about trying to lower the speed limit, and I think we kind of said how we actually did that already, and it has not helped. At one time it was 35 and we lowered it to 30, and that has not changed at all.
Oh yeah, back in the early 2000s, it was a 35-mile-an-hour road, and it was lowered down to 30 in hopes that that would slow people down, but unfortunately that has not happened.
And then, yeah, a lot of people just like the three-way stops like you guys. I mean, you've already said there's quite a few people talking about that. And then, of course, the one that we know where it goes into a driveway. Quite a few people are actually commenting on that because they could see the cars that were parked there right near it. But once again, it's, I mean, that's on their property, and it's on the other side of the curb. So it's almost like if you were driving down a road in some other residential streets that have the curb and then the sidewalk there, and you park your cars along there and you have a short approach.
And I see one here too, Christy, that says that Royal Haven Howley uses driveway with a 6-inch curb. At the driveways, there's actually a curb drop. We won't leave the curb reveal all the way 6 inches at the driveway, so people can pull in and use the drive as they need to.
So another question about money for Muirfield. We'll have to make sure we check that on our list, see where it is. We'll make sure that we look, there's all the streets throughout the residential streets in the city. We have a condition rating index, and we use that to help us determine which streets are being done each year. So we'll make sure to, there's quite a few of you that have been saying that, we'll make sure to look at that and see where it's rating on our list for replacements. Circles have been shifted in other cities. Oh, that was about the question, why didn't we shift it to the north compared to the south, I'm assuming. That's all it says. The circles have been shifted in other cities.
I can answer that a little bit. With some of the roundabouts, when you have a full size roundabout is what we're talking about at this point, when they shift those over to the side, generally what happens is right before you get to the circle itself, you have what is called a splitter island. And it has a certain radius to it that forces you to go around it at a certain angle. So then you have to turn back into the circle. But on this, we don't have anything like, it's too small to do anything like a splitter island. So if you did shift it over, then yes, you're opening it up that somebody driving straight on the side that you're shifting it away from will be able to just drive straight through.
Okay. I know that there's a question about, will there be new lighting now that there will be a deterrent in the middle of the road? I know the city has gone through and we've upgraded. Our lights have gotten upgraded to the LEDs. I can sure tell when I drive down Glendale now. I mean,
I've checked to make sure the 3 intersections where we're putting the traffic circles, there is already a street light at those intersections, so they are lit up.
oh, okay, so somebody's asking about the sidewalk from Brierheath to Burn. It's awful and wheelchairs still use the street. We'll have to, that's something we will look into to see what that condition is. Brierheath to Burn. Sidewalk.
There's several large trees that roots have kind of uprooted the sidewalk
Okay,
section, so.
okay. Well, yeah, we'll have to look at that. So there is no splitter island in the cities this gentleman is talking about, and it curves a bit to the south to stop speeding. He said he'd send us a picture of ones in Texas. Okay, if someone approaches the circle and wants to turn left onto a side street, would I turn left before the circle? You have to go around the circle, don't you?
Yeah, we recommend, I mean, the recommendation is that, you would go around, similar to like a roundabout, you would go around it. If it's, like I said, once again, if it's a larger vehicle, they will have to make the left in front of the island.
Okay, this one made me smile. Would it be too much to ask for live cams to be placed at the intersections to catch the drama from when the drunks don't navigate the intersection cleanly? That could be some entertainment, but I don't think it's that much of a curve that I mean, it's less than if you're going around a bend, like turning a corner on a street. I mean, it's less of a curve than you're doing there. So that was cute, but I don't think we have to worry about that. But you know what? You never know with people. Why not put curbs on both sides of Schneider and allow parking on the street? That would slow down traffic. There's not enough room there to allow to put curbs and allow parking. The street's not wide enough, correct?
Correct. Yeah, I mean, you would have to widen the whole street all the way along. And then in that case, also put in drainage along that whole section to get parking. A lot of people do park, on the shoulder. They have a stoned in area that does allow parking.
Okay, more mirror fields. So I don't know, have we taken a look at that street at all, Gary? There's been quite a
No.
few people about, okay.
No, we haven't, and we will. I mean, there's, like I said,
Okay.
it's
You
clear
said
to
you
us
would.
that, via all these comments that we need to take a look at Muirfield and see if there's something else that needs to be done along there. So we'll get some counts and we'll take a look at accidents and, the signage and all that along there.
Okay, and we actually, what's nice is we will have all of these questions that you guys have asked, we have. So they're not going to go away as soon as this is done. We'll be able to go back to them and see them. So we do have them. Garbage trucks, same thing. There should be no. Oh, wait, our garbage truck backs in on our street. Oh, shoot, they didn't give me their street. This will cause some issues for them as well. Thank you for having this meeting. Please listen to the residents while doing this project.
I have a feeling that it's either Carmel or Colleen, since they're dead end roads.
Okay,
Shouldn't affect because there's not a traffic circle at those intersections. So the garbage truck should still be able to back in fairly easily down those roads.
is there someone, Joel, if someone's talking about, they have a fence. So there might be near one of the roundabouts, we have a fence. How are we supposed to go around it? It is only one driveway. So we'll have to look at all four corners of each of the locations. Once again, I don't have an address to.
I was gonna say, yeah, I know here at Birchwood, there's a fence here, but I'm not understanding fully the question.
They're saying at the manor. Looks like it's in one of the comments.
You saw at the manor?
Oh.
The
I see what you-
driveway.
Yeah, the fence there. So like I said, they would do it in halves. They would make sure that at least half of the driveway is open so that regular vehicles and emergency vehicles could access the manor back there.
What contingency plans have been put in place if speeders actually hit the circle and go out of control? There have been several accidents at the Bern and Detroit circle. I don't know if we can say we have any contingency plans. I mean, it's just like any other place throughout
Yeah,
the city.
unfortunately, there's not much you can. We'll have to look at the reason why, they hit
What
it.
might have caused it, if it was something to
Right.
do with the design and not
Yeah,
some,
no,
somebody.
I mean, if we're getting accidents
impaired.
there, we go in and we'll take a look to see, what's causing the accidents. Is it drunk drivers? Is it distracted drivers? Is it something with the design that people aren't, able to, navigate it safely, under normal operation? Or do we need, is there additional signage out there to maybe make somebody aware of something?
I know Sean's going to speak, it looks like too, so I'll be brief, but I've obviously gotten I shouldn't say a lot, I've gotten numerous complaints about the roundabout at Detroit and Byrne, and the poorhouse that's been hit, I think twice, and the fence has been hit once. We just can't control drunk drivers and stupid drivers. It doesn't work that way. And it's unfortunate that that guy's house or that person's house has been hit those times, but in every case that was because someone was impaired. And we've been able to prove that the people that are crashing there were impaired. So we are looking at, Sean and I have been discussing ways of possibly protecting that house there, and we're in further discussions on that too. But these are, I hope that obviously people respect these traffic circles and respect the fact that no longer is Schneider the road to cut through to go from Heather Downs to Byrne and speed down and make the road safer in the long run.
Thank you, Councilman. I think I'll just add, the material conditions of Schneider and Detroit are different. The contributing factors to some of those lane departures or road departures that wound up, unfortunately, in this gentleman's front yard. They're different. They're quite frankly not one-to-one comparable to Schneider. Schneider is a roadway that we believe, with the addition of this traffic calming feature, will severely depress the top speeds of vehicles moving through the network. And if a vehicle was to hit some of these traffic calming circles, I don't believe that it would have the same volatility as some of those accidents that have happened on Detroit. So overall, I think that these are safer in some capacity because of the contextual neighborhood and the contextual network around them.
And I think the big thing that a lot of the residents are saying here is that they feel that they're not being listened to per se. And I think what we're trying to do here is to explain, we have looked at the stop signs, we have looked at the speed bumps, we have looked at these, we've done these other options, and they are not slowing the traffic down. So this is what, there's other communities that have been doing it all over the United States. And we want to do this option. And from all the research that we have done, it has worked. It has worked in other communities. And so we want to do it here so that we can show that it works for all the residents along there to slow that traffic down. I looked on Engage Toledo, and it was a few months ago, we had someone call in, there was someone going 90 down that road. So, and I know I cut through that road, and I try very hard to go the speed limit, and especially after they paved the one end of it with the water line project. It's very easy, and we are doing this because we care about that neighborhood, and we want to make it better, just as Councilman Cherry explained to you guys in the beginning of this. So we want to thank everyone for joining us. And once again, Matt left his email so that you can contact him. One last thing, I don't remember, Joel, did we mention when we were thinking that construction was going to start?
So it's going to be when District 1 and 2 starts. Not exactly sure when the contract.
Do we have, so we don't know when, like a guesstimate between?
It's spring and summer.
Okay.
That contractor has, I think, 5 roads, Tim. Is it 4 or 5 that they're also reconstructing? And it's
the contractor is reconstructing, I believe, between districts 1 and 2, there are 7 different roads. And so they are going to go through and determine the best sequence to do all of the roads in. So,
right. So when,
it kind of depends on when they decide that they'll be able to go to Royal Haven, but it will be sometime between, I mean, you always hope it's closer to, the beginning of the season, but it could be any time from, say, April to September at this point.
Christy, I'd also like to throw out there that on the construction projects, we do have a minimum 72, or I think, did we change it to 5-day notice now before we begin construction? And you should receive a letter if you live along Schneider in the area of the construction, and you should get a letter that gives you at least some general outline of how the contractor intends to construct it and what their rough timeframes are. So we do have a communication protocol that our contractors should be complying with. So you won't get surprised by the contractor just showing up out of the blue one day. And if anything goes significantly out of schedule, we give updates. Is that still correct, Christy?
Yes, that's true. Okay, well, like I said, we have all the comments that you guys have given us. I know there's a few that we're gonna go ahead and look at, like Gary had said. So once again, we really appreciate all of you, that there's quite a few of you here, and we appreciate you taking your time out of your night and joining us here for this presentation. So once again, thank you and have a good evening.